watching you. The most frightening, scary, spooky, creepy, ghastly, ghoulish, grisly, wonderful time of the year.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Who are you gonna call?
Ghostbusters.
So that's probably pretty obvious what we're talking about today. The Ghostbusters game from, I believe, 2009 it came out?
Yes. Should we do introductions as well?
Yeah. I am Merrick D'Amato from Narwhal Entertainment.
And I'm Classic Gamer.
From Classic Gamer.
Yes.
And Ghostbusters game. Halloween, happy Halloween, by the way. So,
Yes, happy Halloween, everyone.
not sure we need to explain Ghostbusters, but just for the benefit of those who are watching a video called about Ghostbusters. Oh, by the way, Narwhal and Classix Post-Play Podcast. For those of you who are watching this without knowing what the Ghostbusters are, classic 80s comedy.
Where have you... Yep, a very classic 80s comedy.
Bill Murray, Harold Ramis, rest in peace. Dan Aykroyd. I cannot remember.
I can't remember who plays Ernie.
No, Ernie Hudson.
Oh,
Yeah,
no,
the character is
yeah,
Winston.
I mean Winston.
So you did remember who played him, Ernie Hudson.
Yeah, I said his real name instead of his actor name.
It's
so
group of paranormal investigators decide to become essentially exterminators for ghosts. Accidentally bring basically Cthulhu. Cthulhu ends up. Sigourney Weaver accidentally brings Cthulhu into the world, and then the Ghostbusters stop it, and they kill a giant marshmallow.
Is it Cthulhu?
Nah, it's Gozer. She becomes Zool, and other one.
I can't remember his name.
It's Dark Helmet in Spaceballs. I remember.
And he's also in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids as well.
He's Vince Clortho. It is the Gatekeeper and the Keymaster, and they bring
Lewis Tunley.
Yeah, brings
That's it.
Gozer the Gozarian. There's a giant marshmallow. They kill the giant marshmallow. They save the city. They get sued for saving the city.
They get sued for buying 5 floors off top of a multi-story tower.
And in the sequel, get sued, fight an evil wrestler from a portrait who is Vigo the Carpathian. They fight him and his mood-altering slime in the Statue of Liberty.
He was hung, drawn, quartered, shot, stabbed, and whatever it was.
Rasputin.
And then Venkman just goes, ouch.
Set.
Time is but a window, I'll be back.
Sequel, not so good, in my opinion, is Ghostbusters 2.
I like the sequel. The sequel has a certain kind of charm to it, but
it has a certain kind of charm, but it's just like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, Secret of the Ooze. It's very sanitized. It's not so the drinking and the cursing, which was part of, like, when you're a kid, that's part of the fun of Ghostbusters. It's a movie that I can watch where they're doing all this stuff. And then they take it out, and it's like, yeah, okay, I guess, but whatever.
So this game is set after
this is
Ghostbusters 2.
The original idea for Ghostbusters 3. Apparently was going to be something like this. You do not play any of the Ghostbusters. You play a rookie who they order around and are kind of assholes to the whole game.
Well, Venkman's an asshole.
Well, Venkman's just an asshole to everyone. He's Venkman. He's Bill Murray. That's what Bill Murray does in movies.
You play as a rookie. You basically are the pawn to test out new equipment.
Yeah.
So if there's a mistake or he goes up in flames, they're covered because it's not
you'll
them.
Explode. You still have an unlicensed nuclear accelerator on your back.
Yeah. So you start off. You get a job with the Ghostbusters. You get introduced to Harold Ramis' character Egon. Rest in peace. And in tribute to him and his memory, he was one of the producers, along with one of the writers, as well as a producer, I believe, along with Dan Aykroyd.
He was always writer and producer, even back in the movies.
Yes, he was. the reason why there was such a big thing about the third Ghostbusters is Bill Murray refused for so many years to work on any other ghostbusting or franchise or project or anything. Now, in this podcast, I want to make clear to everyone that we are talking about the original two films and briefly about the Afterlife film that's been the most recent.
I have not yet seen the Afterlife movie. I don't think it has much bearing on the game because it hadn't came out yet.
I would definitely say it's worth watching. It's a nice tribute to Harold Ramis, but this is not anyway connected to the 2016.
No, this has nothing to do with that.
Now,
there is a game about that. That's its own thing. It's a multiplayer twin stick shooter thing. Whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe someday. And then
the thing I will say about that film is that this is nothing against the actors, the women in the film, or the guy who plays Thor in that film. They all do a fantastic job. This is nothing against the females as actors. What people, and I need people to understand is, as a fan of Ghostbusters, we're both fans of this franchise, it was the fact that when they released the trailer, they made a big mistake. It's the fact they tried to remake the original film in a way that was meant to be good, and then all the actors got...
Even that, I don't think so much the issue. Like, remakes happen all the time. Most of them aren't good, in my opinion, but whatever. It's a fact of Hollywood is the lack of creativity. But that's not so much the issue. The issue is some people are like, I'm not super excited for... Obviously, there were some people who are just straight out sexist. As far as I'm concerned, their opinion is irrelevant. But there was a lot of valid criticism about it. But the producers decided to declare anyone who doesn't like this sexist, and that's where the problems came in.
Yeah, I mean, the actors came out and said, we don't want to be subject to harassment or bullying or anything online. And I came out and I've said in videos myself, I said it's nothing against you guys as actors. It's not the fact that you're women or the fact you're in a Ghostbusters film. It's the fact that they started off badly from the first trailer, in my opinion. And when they went, 4 scientists saved the world. Now, first of all, to clarify, and people can argue with me this in the comments if they wish, but you will lose. The 4 scientists did not save the world. 3 scientists saved the world, and
Winston, to quote Winston Zedmore, "I'll believe anything for a steady paycheck," which I think is something we can all relate to.
Yeah, he was hired as a extra person who saw the job and went for it. Then they changed the trailer to 4 friends saved the world.
I do have to say about this, actually, about the original movies, and it's not the actor's fault, but it's the writer's fault. But I kind of middle finger to the marketing is Winston getting left out of almost all the posters and advertising on the first, and don't. He's one of the characters. Winston's fucking cool. Let him be in the posters.
Yeah, I mean, in this game, you basically are. It's after the events or it's sometime after the events of the second film. You've got a lot of memorabilia in the fire station.
Between levels, between levels, you get to explore the fire station, and I'm sure you agree that was so fun as a fan. Look at all the stuff, and there's the mood slime, there's the painting of Vigo the Carpathian.
And he talks to you. I will return.
Everybody, I've seen the future. Everyone is juicing.
I don't remember that line, but there's in the second film that picture is actually changed to the 4 Ernie, Winston, Venkman, Spengler, and Ray, and the baby, and Dana, and Vigo is basically destroyed. I like the final fight with Vigo in the second film. It's a nice thing. They got the slime guns, which is positively charged slime,
which you do get in this game.
Not film. Yeah, you do get in this game later on. But this game starts off where you I think you
Well,
go
the first
you go
everything
to
you
the hotel.
the first thing you do before you go to the Waldorf.
Oh yeah, you have to chase.
Yeah, you
Slimer.
have to chase Slimer through through the house, through the fire station. It's how you learn to use the tethering. By the way, this has like Gears of War's controls, but
You don't use you don't use the tethering in the first level when you go and chase Slimer.
you don't. I thought you had to tether him into the ghost trap. I distinctly remember that.
No, you have the proton stream, and then you have the capture stream.
So, sorry, I was referring
that.
to the proton stream as tethering.
Oh, okay.
It's just error in terms on my part.
That's all right.
You do the standard Ghostbuster thing with him, get him into the ghost trap.
Try and catch a Slimer, you fail.
He releases all the other ghosts, so you're not having the best first day.
Yeah, and but basically the protection rig is turned off again essentially.
Just like Walter Peck
when
did
Slimer's
before.
looking in the window of the containment unit, and you shoot Slimer, you miss and hit the containment unit, and that's when
Shut this off. Shut this down. Shut this all down.
Yeah.
Yes, it's true. This man has no penis. Walter Peck.
You Slimer escapes, and then you figure out what to do, and you go to the hotel.
Yeah, I think it's the Waldorf from the original movie.
I can't remember what the hotel's called though.
I think I can check. Ghostbusters Hotel. The Sedgwick.
That's it.
Hotel Sedgwick.
So obviously the manager is not pleased to see you. There's quite a good back and forth between Venkman and the manager, and he goes, "If you check the small print of our invoice, you will see that any re-hauntings is not covered in our return policy." Also, all the original voice actors return to voice their respective characters.
There's also one really fun thing when you get actually into the levels. Items in the world that everything's basically destructible, and you get quote unquote fine every time. It doesn't matter. Money isn't a thing in this game, but it adds like numbers to your destruction list.
Yeah, you can destroy anything. Anything you see, you can destroy.
And if you're me, you take that as a challenge. Let's see how high we can get this number every level. So it's running.
Yeah, you can also get upgrades as well, like cooldown for the proton pack.
Yeah, that's quite fun.
Also, yeah.
And unlock new things it can do. You also you have two other gadgets aside from obviously the proton cannon. You have the specs. You have the goggles, which let you like track ghosts and find collectibles.
You have the little thing with the two arms.
Yeah, the
PKA. It has lines.
The PKA meter. The PKA meter you can use for two things. One, track the objective. Fine. The second, and arguably, there's find haunted items, which you can collect, read funny little blurbs about, and view all of them in the firehouse between levels, which I found quite cool. It's one of the few games that I'm actually interested in the collectibles, because they do collectibles in an interesting way. A lot of the time, I just ignore them unless they unlock something. But this one, I was actually trying to get as many as I could because I found them legitimately cool.
No, I found them cool as well, and I did do them. So you go to the Cedric. The manager's not pleased to see you. You split up. You go up to the top floor, and then you go around looking for Slimer. Venkman gets slimed again, which is a really nice throwback to the first film.
Gag, he gets slimed all the time. He hates it. He gets slimed all the time in the cartoon as well. If you've never watched the real Ghostbusters cartoon, check it out. It's amazing.
Yeah, I think I do remember watching a few episodes. But then you go through, you then chase Slimer down to the ballroom. It's got a bar mitzvah set up all in there.
You destroy it.
The manager doesn't want you going in. You're going through the kitchen. And and then you eventually, and what one thing that I found cool in there is that if you shoot the tablecloths, they will burn up and will go into the center of the table and will disappear, which is a really nice little touch. All the little details in this game are really good. Also, about this game as well, the original developers kind of, I think, they kind of went quiet for a long time until the game was picked up very in the last couple of years and was remastered and re-released, because it disappeared it was on my Steam library. I installed it, but I couldn't play it. It wouldn't let me play it. There was a problem with it because it was no longer supported.
Because I think they remastered it for Switch and PS4. And
well, no, this was long before they remastered it.
I never ran into that problem.
I couldn't. Yeah, I think I don't know whether it was because of my computer, but there was some kind of error that didn't let me do it.
There is another version of this game, the same game but on a different console. I played it on PC personally, but there's one that was on like PSP, PS2 kind of thing, which is actually it's the same game and the same controls, but takes a different approach with the graphics, where they look kind of like almost like 3D representations of their cartoon counterparts. And
I've not seen the PS2.
It's quite cool, actually. I'm gonna share a picture of it with you in the chat right now, so you can tell me what you think.
I was just gonna go on. Hang on.
Here you go.
Type. Oh yeah, I remember looking at this.
So it's pretty cool. I like it.
I might have a look at it later.
So you fight some cool ghosts. They're like golems made of stuff, which are a fun enemy to deal with. You unlock, as the game goes, some new stuff for the proton stream. Like you can shoot it as a gun in some case, like shoot as a cannon, which gets very useful.
Yeah, you can basically send out, when you go through the game, you unlock 4 versions of the proton pack. So there's one with like a blue energy bar that kind of like slows them down, slows the ghost down. It slows them down so you can shoot them better. The proton stream decreases their health bar.
To actually catch the ghosts, by the way, you get the beam on them, you smack them into walls, and then you smack them into the trap.
Yeah, you can essentially smash them down to the floor. I think you have to unlock that though.
Yeah, you unlock. It's called the slam dunk, I believe.
Yeah, it's called the slam dunk.
It's worth it if you're playing the game, by the way. Get the slam dunk.
So you go through the hotel, and what's the next level after the hotel?
You're just in New York, because your ghosts are happening in New York, like around the streets of New York. You're going down Fifth Avenue, I believe.
The Marshmallow Man.
Yep, Stay Puft. He's back. He's angry. It's personal.
Yeah, you follow him. Just gonna get up the levels on my screen, so I've got them. So yeah, you go through Times Square, and then you eventually catch up. You then also you meet a woman in the hotel who obviously Venkman can't help himself. He tries to flirt. She tells him to get lost.
As
and he's
most,
like, you'll come back to me, and all this kind of like the way that
Venkman's
brilliantly done by Bill
True.
Murray in the video game. I mean, he agreed to this, which I find awesome, but he didn't want to return to a film. And then,
which is worth mentioning that he did, though, appear in the 2016 one.
As a ghost skeptic who falls out the window and falls to his death.
Still, like, you won't appear in a Ghostbusters sequel, but you'll appear in this? Really? Alright, whatever.
Well, actually, if you watch Afterlife, you'll get quite a nice surprise.
Okay, I'll put it on my list.
Yeah, it's definitely worth watching. because I would love to talk with you about that. Might be worth watching with like one of your friends or something.
So they go through the Times Square. You climb the building. You climb to a laundromat. You fight.
You climb through a big tall building as well. Stay tough. He's looking for something or someone. You meet the girl again, and then you rescue her.
I do have to say they did make Stay Puft somehow frightening. Because when you're dangling off the building by the straps of your pet, and you're
when you have to shoot, you have to shoot him, and he's got these really annoying mini guys that come out.
Yeah, little mini marshmallows.
Yeah, and then you go to, I think, one of the best locations for the first film.
Public library!
Only shown very, very briefly, the public library, where finally you take on the librarian.
And you go into her backstory, and it's so fucking cool. Oh.
It's so bloody, it's so good. I mean, there's so much in this game that they established for the fact they've given you essentially a film in a video game style. This would never be made into a film, but it doesn't need to be a film because you're literally playing what Ghostbusters 3 would have been if they had made it in the early 1990s.
This is something I legitimately love that some of these video games based on movies do. Sometimes they're like, okay, we don't really want to just adapt the movie. Let's do a sequel to the movie. And you actually get some really good games out of this. You got this. You get Stranglehold, which is a sequel to Hard Boiled. You get the fucking Ghost Rider game, which is a sequel to, which is both a sequel to the Ghost Rider movie, and actually better than the Ghost Rider movie because it fixes all the problems that the movie had. You get the same thing. There's with X-Men. The official game is a sequel to X-Men 2. Bridging into X-Men 3 and explaining why Nightcrawler's not in X-Men 3. There's so many Amazing Spider-Man. The Amazing Spider-Man game is the same thing.
So why is Nightcrawler not in X-Men 3?
It's because it involves his back. Well, one because it couldn't get Alan Cumming back, and he didn't fit in the story they were telling, so they just decided not to waste the money on Alan Cumming for that. But the reason given in universe is he is super, super, super Catholic, the character, and he just can't. He ends up killing a few people in the game, and it's like I know it was I know the reasoning behind doing it was for the greater good, but I just can't keep doing this, and then he left the team. We gave him a really cool costume, like a version of the X-Men suit, but with a trench coat and in his.
Yeah, but in the reboot series of
different Nightcrawler.
Yeah, but he's a younger version, isn't he?
Yeah, because that's set in like the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, and also you got young Jean, you got young Charles, and young.
But the point is, the getting video game sequels to movies, not just adapting the movie, but being a sequel to it, is something I kind of miss, actually.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds something that I think I should. I was actually saying this in my video of Assassin's Creed, actually, that I know your channel mainly has been for a long time about games based on films or movies or that kind of thing, and I think that's something I probably will maybe be interested in, maybe trying to do myself at some point.
And we'll get into that more in a future podcast if we ever get around to the Matrix games, because Enter the Matrix is an integral part of the Matrix films. Because there's vital information that you only get in that game. There's live action footage shot exclusively for that game. That never happened anymore.
No, and that game actually, it tells a story of Ghost and Niobe, who were never really told. I mean, I've seen the Matrix Resurrections, and it's
so
good.
You go to the public library, you find out about this guy called Ivo Shandor. And
yeah, so in this it's tied Shandor is tied to Gozer. There's a Gozer reference. It turns out that the librarian was, I think she was she was worshiping. He was a collector.
She was dating
he
him,
collected
I think.
things. Yeah, and she was killed by him, but she has this, she keeps, every time you see her, she goes shh, and Ray goes, will you stop with the shushing? Because that's all she does. You then fight her in a fantastic boss fight, which is amazing. And yeah, I mean this level is actually very, very long. I think at one point you actually go to an alternate reality as well.
Yeah, you go
through
to
the public library.
you go to you go through a dimensional door, and you actually through the dimensional door. And I'm sorry that this is going to rhyme. You fight a giant slore. Because I remember in when Ricky, when freaking Vince Clortho was talking about all the times Gozer's done shit in the movie, like one universe, the destroyer took the form of a giant slore. Many knew that day it was like the bird inside the belly of a slore. And a slore is just a throwaway, weird sounding creature. You actually meet a slore in the game. You fight it. It's freaking cool looking. It looks kind of like Goro with a snake tail.
What level was that on? Was that on the library?
That was in the island, I think.
Oh,
the boss for the four-armed thing.
I think yeah. I have played it. I think I played it last year.
Giant slore. You go to the National History Museum, of course, after the public library.
Yeah. You basically something's going on. Oh no! And you also, in between levels, the mayor turns up with Peck.
Fucking Peck.
And yeah, and Peck basically bans you from going anywhere.
About Walter Peck. Fun fact about that character: have you seen Die Hard?
Yeah.
You know the reporter who goes to and harasses Holly Gennaro's kids? I think it's punched in the face by Holly Gennaro at the end of the movie.
Dick.
Yeah. That's Peck!
No,
That's the actor,
Peck.
yeah. So he's been in 2 80s films, and his name's a dick joke in both.
Oh, yeah, Harley punches in the face in the first. Did you get that?
Yeah, fucking love it.
Perfect angle.
I love Die Hard. I love that movie.
So Peck bans you from firing any protest stream. Actually, in this game as well, there's really cool little areas. I would encourage you to listen to them. You get Janine downstairs, and she's not the Janine that's a bit goofy in the second film.
No, she's the original Janine.
She's the original Janine, who is like horrible, rude, just
with this, like
a bitch. In other words,
I don't think she's a bitch. I think she just works for for 3 fucking morons and Winston.
Yeah,
I think from her perspective, imagine having Venkman as a boss.
Oh, yeah. Janine, any calls? No. Any messages? Any customers? No, Dr.
And you still haven't paid me this week.
It's a good job, isn't it? Type something when you're paying me this stuff. Sorry about the bug eye things. I'll be in my office. So, if you listen to Janine in the firehouse, she basically gets calls, and there's real good dialogue. You've got to wonder, these people are ringing, like, this is when the Ghostbusters are hot on people ringing them. Obviously, Peck is not a fan, but the mayor is keeping him in check. But Peck is made your person where he oversees you.
I would like to talk about one of the weapons you get that I had way too much fun with. You get the slime cannon. You get the slime blower, and you can blow slime on enemies, and that's fine. And you can solve puzzles. And then there's the slime.
And you can also slime your own.
You can, and it's hilarious. But you also get the slime tether, which is you use to like solve puzzles, to like move things and push wheels. Or you can do what I did and decide that every single movable item in the level has to be tethered to the ceiling. Why? Don't know. We have to do it. It's non-negotiable. We're tethering everything to the ceiling. I remember
Wow.
I was actually playing
know
this with Gio. I was going through the game with Gio on my channel, and he started to get legitimately angry at me for keeping on doing this. It's like, what are you doing? I have to tether everything. No, you don't. Shut up. It's my show.
I can imagine that actually happening.
Actually, look forward to a Let's Play with Gio this year on my channel, where we are doing Devil May Cry this Halloween.
That's going to be interesting. So,
So after you go back to the Sedgwick. This is with Peck, fucking Peck.
Well, yeah, Peck basically tells Janine, who tells the Ghostbusters, if you fire another proton string without permission, he basically will have you up in court and on charges. But like typical men who don't give a shit, you ignore this and you go to the Cedric, which is now been abandoned. It's now closed down, and and there's a sign outside saying this building is closed, no access as it goes especially to the Ghostbusters. Signed Walter Peck. And of course you ignore it. You then hear a scream throughout the level, which you think is a woman, but it turns out to be the hotel manager, which is just hilarious. Then he faints. You fight a big iron robot.
That was tough. That was a tough fight.
Oh no, that's in the other level. Excuse me. You fight the big fisherman.
Oh, I love the fisherman.
Yeah, it was a good story.
Like, and conceptually, he just looks so fucking cool.
In this one, though, you fight that woman who's the murderer.
Oh my god, the Spider Woman! Oh, yeah. She was so cool. So many of the ghost designs, and this isn't really a thing in the movie. Not a lot of
the Spider Witch.
The Spider Witch, but there's not like a lot of ghost designs. Like really, there's not a lot of ghosts in Ghost, but there's a few. But there's like the main ones are Vigo, the Librarian, Ghost, Slimer, and Gozer. You don't really see a lot of other ones. Maybe the Scarelli brothers in two. But the one for like legit crazy ghost designs is the cartoon. And this doesn't reference a cartoon because the cartoon doesn't really have a lot to do with the movies, except for like a few episodes. But some of the monster designs are like really reminiscent of that level of creativity and craziness that was on display in that show.
Oh, I mean, some of the level design. I mean, the thing is that a lot of these areas are they're so well done, and it's just like you can believe these would be if they were explored in the actual films, they would definitely be. You would believe that they would look like this, and it's just I just think it's just. All the areas in this game are just really well done. There's none that are really, annoying. They're not too difficult. This game is not hard.
Because if you die, one of your buddies will just pick you up.
Yeah, I mean it's very easy, and then you go to Shandor Island,
and that's where you cross into the other dimension. At some point, you fight the Slore. It's a big castle. It's like it's like the last level of Resi 4 almost. Like the castle level.
No, the last level of Resi 4 is the island. Along with.
It reminds me of this. They remind me of each other a lot. I fight the Slore there, obviously.
And then you actually find out. I think it turns out that when you then
you suspect, or Venkman suspects that the woman's actually possessed by and working to summon Shandor or possessed or something. Obviously, because a woman doesn't want to sleep with me, clearly she's evil or a demon. There's no other explanation. No one can resist the Venkman charm. Venkman is the original incel.
Yeah, but actually, the person who you then start to suspect, because he starts acting very strange, is the mayor. So he acts really weird. I think you talk to him and he's like, you need to work with Peck. And obviously it's the fact that he was very for you and then he suddenly turns against you. I think you see that in the history museum level with the mayor. Oh no! Also, Walter Peck gets possessed as well,
Yes, which is
and he kind of hovers round. He like has his arms out. And he does that weird grin that you see. I think
he
it's
does
like
the freaking
almost like the
he
Shining
does the
grin.
fucking
Reminds me of that
Charleston
grin.
dance.
Oh yeah.
He's. I remember we got a lot of laughs out of that on the Let's Play. Actually, we got much joy from the Peck dance, the freaking Peck boogie over there.
Yeah. And then you go to Central Island, not Central Island, Central Park. Sorry.
Which I have checked this out because in this there's a massive graveyard in Central Park. Yet no, there isn't. I had to verify because I've never been to New York. But there's no. Don't worry, there's no big graveyard in Central Park, as far as I know.
No, I've been to New York, and I have been through Central Park, but not the whole of it. And I didn't see
There's a zoo, not a graveyard.
There is a zoo.
There's also lots of stabbing at night, but no graveyard, which is slightly inconvenient considering all the murders.
A bit like the East End of London. Yeah, there you go.
I actually went to Hyde Park once when I was in London, and it was nice. I guess it was a nice day, but all I could remember that Hyde Park smells awful, or like it smelled horrible it smelled like sewage when I was there, and I think it was like
I don't know why that.
Maybe it's something at the time with the heat or the algae or something. I don't know, but
maybe
just really really reeked.
Yeah, so then you have to solve some puzzles which are very simple.
You escort Ecto 1.
Yeah, you escort Ecto 1.
So, which is...
Oh, by the way, Ecto 1 in the other level, when you're going through, what's it called, through the streets, has a big, massive
Yes, it's actually really convenient because you don't need to throw any traps down. Just keep popping them into Ecto 1.
And it's an instant trap. So you go through Central Park, you eventually...
sometimes ghosts will possess objects, like gargoyles or pots and pans, make like little golems out of them. With those, you're going to have to use you have like this cannon built into your proton stream. You're going to have to actually kill the like body before you can catch the ghost, kind of thing. You're going to have to destroy it first.
And then you get to...
You never get to drive Ecto 1, which is slightly disappointing.
No, you get either Egon or Ray, and then there's the three of you out of it. And then you get to the Shandor Mausoleum. You fight the final boss.
Which is disappointing, I found, because it's just a big demon guy. With all the creative... designs they had for ghosts, I found his greatly lacking.
I don't know if they ran. Do you think they might have run out of ideas?
I don't know if because there's other stuff to draw from. He's just kind of. I think they felt they needed to make the final boss look badass and epic, and that is possible with Ghostbusters designs. But I think they lost confidence a bit with that one, or someone else designed it, and it was weird. Maybe they ran out of time. It just went for a big dude. I don't know.
Yeah, well, yeah. So
he's basically just Genie. He's just Genie Jafar from Aladdin, really.
I've not seen.
You've not seen Aladdin?
No.
I recommend the cartoon. But it's like
I know the live action got a lot of stick.
Because it was bad.
Well, was it? I was told it was because Will Smith was the Genie.
Oh no.
I mean, come on. If you look at the live action compared to the cartoon version, the same film, but you're going up against the great Robin Williams. Rest in peace. Anyone stepping into the shoes of the Genie, or even the shoes of Mrs. Doubtfire, has shoes. That's why they cancelled the Mrs. Doubtfire 2.
That's kind of the thing with the Genie in Aladdin, is they didn't write the character and then cast an actor. They wrote the Genie around Robin Williams. they based the genie on Robin Williams. So no one else can really play that character the same way. You have to completely overhaul the character from the ground up for anyone else to play him.
Yeah, I think from what I understand, I think people say there was nothing against Will Smith.
Nothing
Obviously, he's
against
a
Will
fantastic
Smith,
actor.
but like it's on his. It's just the movie was. None of the live action remakes have been particularly good, frankly.
I like the Beauty and the Beast one.
Fair enough. I remember I fucking hated the Lion King one.
Did you?
It's so bad. They make so many. Like they cut out the point of the movie. They cut out those scenes so a beetle can walk across a stick. They have "Can You Feel the Love Tonight" be shot in the daytime, which is insane. And it's the characters are like super realistic looking, so they can't emote because they're fucking lions. And they're like, "Oh, it's a live action Lion King." It's like, well, no, it's not. It's animated. You didn't get a bunch of actual lions here. What are you talking about? Live action. It's just lost all the charm and the heart, really.
Yeah, I was looking at comparisons between like the live action Jungle Book, like the Legend of the Jungle Mowgli, and then between like Shere Khan fight, and then you have Kaa who saves Mowgli and says he's part of the animals in the, because obviously they dive much more into.
But fucking Kaa saves Mowgli.
Yeah, it's in this bit where he's unconscious on this stone seat, and Shere Khan's going to go and kill him, but then suddenly Khan comes in and says he's part of us, he's part of our family, and when I saw the scene in Sheffield, I was like, I didn't. It wasn't like the fact that it upset me. It was late at night, so I probably wasn't paying much attention, but I was just like, you know what, in a way, Kaa.
Unless Kaa's play is, I can't let Shere Khan kill him because then I can't eat him. If that's not the play, then it doesn't make any sense because Kaa's goal is eat Mowgli. Hypnotize Mowgli, then eat me.
Trust in me, oh, just in me.
He has the same voice as Winnie the Pooh, by the way.
Does he?
It's actually really funny because it's the same voice actor who plays Winnie the Pooh.
Oh yeah, actually,
but it's not just that's the same voice actor who plays Winnie the Pooh. Mowgli is the same voice actor who plays Christopher Robin, which is hilarious considering the movie that's coming out, the Winnie the Pooh horror movie.
Winnie the Pooh horror.
Well, yeah, Winnie the Pooh and Piglet decide to become cannibals and eat people after they eat Eeyore. I don't know. I just heard about it. I'm too nervous to check it out.
What?
Just because Winnie the Pooh is for me such a symbol of wholesomeness that I don't really want to ruin it like that.
Winnie the Pooh is such a innocent character.
But you fight the demon, you beat him. The Ghostbusters get hailed as heroes. Venkman gets the girl. Well,
actually, the mayor was actually the one behind all this, and then when he gets unpossessed, he's like, "Ghostbusters, what are you guys doing here?" And he goes back to being all nice and kind, whereas before he was quite horrible. And that's when he does do that early in the game, Egon goes, "We're going to have to keep a close eye on him."
Of course, Egon was right because Egon's the smartest man in the world because he has a collection of molds and fungi.
Yes.
So then, save the day. Venkman kisses the girl. End credits. Awesome music. Busted makes me feel good.
Yeah. Also, the things you get for the proton packs is this obviously the proton stream, the blue stream, the pulsing gun that shoots out like
the boson cannon. I think it's a boson cannon.
Yeah, something like that. And then obviously the slime gun. They all have different 2 different modes. You can actually set out with the proton stream. You can set out like a big charged up ball of energy,
which is super useful when you're fighting Stay Puft, by the way. That's the ideal strategy,
Yes.
is to pelt them with those.
But it makes your pack overheat immediately.
True, but it stuns him long enough for your pack for you to vent and recharge your pack.
Yeah. But for you, favorite level?
Gonna have to say the library.
I will agree with that straight away. Definitely. Okay. Favorite favorite character that you fought or that you fight?
Fisherman.
I'd say librarian.
Fair enough.
Um, and then favorite character of the Ghostbusters or favorite one of the overall characters?
Favorite of the principal cast of just the Ghostbusters or of all of them?
All of them.
Be a toss up between Janine and Winston, I think.
I think for me it's Venkman.
Yeah,
Bill Murray just does, as always. He's so good as Venkman.
I will say I greatly like Egon when he has Venkman or Ray to work off of. Because I don't like Venkman on his own. I mean, I like Venkman on his own. I like Ray on his own. I like Egon on his own. But they're not at their maximum potential on their own. They all need to be together to be comedy gold. It's like, I mean, Hugh Laurie's funny and Stephen Fry is funny, but it's not until you put them together that you get some of the best comedy in the world. If you know what I mean.
I'd say that they all bounce off each other. All the actors that have come back for this, apart from Lewis, he didn't return, but it doesn't need.
Well, the character, I don't see how the character would add anything. Same with kind of a shame about Sigourney Weaver not coming back, though. I really liked her character. She was cool.
Yeah, she. This film was kind of like in between the Alien franchise. So in that film, she's this hero character.
You could have her come back and become a Ghostbuster. Because it's Sigourney Weaver, anyone can buy her as a badass.
Oh no, for sure. I think if you watch Afterlife, you'll see what I mean by the fact that they could easily what I will say is they've left the film open for another film with a totally new set of Ghostbuster characters where maybe the originals train them up. That's how they've kind of left
I will say, love the game, love the Ghostbusters. People who are complaining, because I haven't seen Afterlife yet. I don't really have a set opinion about it, but I saw some people like, "Oh, it's all new characters. This is bullshit. It's never done this before." Like, look, they did it back in the '90s for Extreme Ghostbusters, and that seemed to work pretty good. Like Egon training a bunch of new Ghostbusters. So there's precedent for this, historical precedent in the franchise.
Well, this is essentially the same thing. So in Afterlife, it's essentially Egon's daughter's children that find old resemblances of the Ghostbusters.
The only problem I have with that is I cannot imagine Egon having sex. I cannot imagine him caring.
Well, the thing is
he has molds and funguses to collect. He doesn't have the time. He has science to do.
Yes, but in this film, there's a lot of memorabilia from the films. This is basically, I think
it's like Palpatine having children. I can't see it.
I'd watch it. The director is obviously the original director's son. So he's gone back to he's continued the story, and it's kind of like put an end to a enemy that wasn't really defeated during the other two films.
It's Gozer, isn't it?
Essentially, yes. So obviously she wasn't defeated. She disappeared.
Yeah.
You know, she was you never see her. All you see her is her just like doing that weird look, and then she vanishes from that pedestal that she lands on and
You know who
goes
was
still.
going to play
You
Gozer originally?
who?
Pee Wee Herman.
It doesn't ring a bell for
You
him.
don't know Pee Wee's Playhouse?
No.
Well, that's more for the audience. Pee Wee Herman was going to play from Pee Wee's Playhouse is going to be the original Gozer.
Oh. But yeah.
Paul,
I mean,
you don't know Paul Rubens at all? Or?
Not
Gray,
really.
gray tuxedo, red bow tie, lives in a freaking crack house essentially.
I think it's ringing. I think it's ringing a bell of some kind, but not overly.
He
But
destroyed his career by masturbating in a pornographic movie theater. Which I'm like, if he did that in like freaking Cineplex or something, fine. But this is a porno theater. What are you expecting? You're showing porn. What are you expecting people to do? He was in Buffy the Vampire Slayer in the movie of that.
I've not watched Buffy. Don't interest me.
I've only seen the movie. The movie's quite good. It's like 90 minutes. It's worth a watch, I guess. But I've not yet seen the show, which is some people who have been suggesting new Halloween content for me. I do appreciate it, and I will be getting around to the Buffy the Vampire Slayer video game. But I have to watch the show first, or I have no business talking about the game, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I mean, I think what you were saying the other day about the X-Files, I have to watch the X-Files in order to understand what just happened in the game, because obviously the TV show ties in with the game in some way. But anyway, so if you had to rate,
if I have to rate the game, 8.5. I had a good time with it.
I'd say a solid 8.5.
It's just as long as it needs to be, which is also something I quite like.
It's not got very many levels, which is obviously, people might find that surprising. But if you really have a look, it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 levels. So it's not a long game, but it's probably about if you played it in one evening, you may well complete it.
Because there's some games like this they're very, very long and they wear out their welcome. Like example one we've talked about before, not really a great example, but Third Age. I think after around the time, like in the middle of Helm's Deep, the game had kind of worn out its welcome lengthwise.
So I was completely distracted. I just had a look at the characters. There's Peter Venkman of the Ghostbusters, Peter Venkman, Ray Stantz, Egon Spencer, Winston Zeddemore, and Hoss.
Hoss. Yeah, that's our character. We don't have a name. Everyone just calls us Hoss or Newbie.
Yeah, but you don't really. It doesn't really look like the character in the game.
You never see you just see the back of his head.
Yeah, actually, you're right. Anyway, no, it's just I was just.
Only things I would have really changed about this game personally are I'd have at least maybe at least one level where you can drive Ecto 1.
I don't think it needs it, to be honest. I think that driving levels need to be done right, and if you do I don't want it to become like the driving level from Alone in the Dark on PS3.
And possibly this is not necessary. This is just like a little luxury thing. Maybe a character creation, because our character doesn't talk or anything. I just
thought I heard a Ring doorbell tone going off.
But let us design our character a little bit, like pick the hair or pick the skin color kind of thing, male or female, fine, whatever, don't care. I mean, I'm totally open to it, obviously, but if there's nothing, that's fine. But maybe something. The game's already made; it doesn't matter. But let us choose our character or something.
Well, I
think
it's
supposed to be us, right?
Yeah. What in Ghostbusters?
Yeah, it's supposed to be us as a Ghostbuster. So
Yeah, I mean, you're obviously a newbie. Ventman doesn't want to know your name. That's why you just say it just says rookie on your
on
on your
your
coat.
suit. Yeah,
Yeah, but no, it's a good game. I definitely would recommend
definitely
it.
play it. It's really
If
fun.
you guys, yeah, really good.
I'd recommend, even if you're playing on PC, use a controller. It is
Yeah,
much more fun with a controller.
yeah, it's a lot more fun. You have a lot more control.
If you play it with
But
you
yeah,
can play it with mouse and keyboard, but for busting the ghost, you're going to be like swinging your mouse all around your desk. It's going to get irritating very fast.
I can imagine that. But yeah, we're gonna do a few more Halloween. I
Yeah,
think maybe one more.
because Halloween's like obviously a big thing on my channel at least. Massive. It's like my biggest time of the year for content.
Yeah, it is big over in the UK, but
Anything.
it's kind of like
And if you're watching this, by the way, on my channel, go check out Classix Gamer at Classix Gamer. There's a link in the description below on my channel and a link to his Twitch. Any cool content you're doing this Halloween that you want to tell the viewers about?
what have I been doing for? Get my let me get my thing up. So I've done Delaware St John, all the
Nice.
volumes. I've done Lucius, which is where you play as Lucifer's son.
Nice.
I've cancelled Mummy Returns, that isn't coming
Shame.
out, and I've done the walk. Yeah, I kind of got stuck on the Rick level when you're in the jungle with the little scrote things that run
Yeah,
around.
fair enough.
And then The Walking Dead, Survival Instinct,
Good.
and then finally the X Files, where it's just for this year playing as Fox Mulder.
All right.
Next year, or maybe later on at the end of the year, there'll be the Scully playthrough.
Nice. Looking forward to that. On my channel, got quite a bunch of content for you. We have Scooby Doo and the Cyber Chase. First off, because I always like to have some like less straight horror, more like fun, kid-friendly horror. Even though my channel's not for kids, I swear like a sailor.
Yeah.
Though I'm not your dad, I'm not your parents. I'm not going to tell you not to watch it. If you want to watch it, fine. Just remember that's your choice to watch it. Don't get angry at me if your kids end up watching my stuff. Police your kids better. So I got that coming out. Also have, because I have during Halloween, I have stuff during the day and stuff at night. At night, we're starting off with Dracula 2, The Last Sanctuary. That is a direct sequel to Dracula Resurrection from last year. We also have, for Mindbreakers, we're doing the rest of the Halloween franchise that I missed. Obviously not all of it, because for some inexplicable reason they keep making more of these things. But we have Halloween 6, Halloween H2O, Halloween, that one that's a talk show with Ice Cube, with with the rapper in it, whose name I can't remember, in Halloween from 2018. We're also having a redux of Tim Burton's Nightmare Before Christmas, Oogie's Revenge. We have the original Devil May Cry coming out. We have the original Dead Rising coming out. And we have one more thing, which I have not yet decided on, more directly based on a movie that's coming out. Going to have a whole bunch of stuff for you there. So definitely come check us out at Narwhal Entertainment.
Yes, definitely go and check out that. Quite excited for the Cyber Chase one, I have to say.
It's not a
I've seen that.
It's not a very good
I've
game.
got that game. I haven't
It's
played
not
it.
a good
It's
game.
not.
It's
really
magnificently bad, actually. I'll say two video game terms and think about how they would work together. Platforming, ice physics. Yeah. Yeah.
Have you seen those Scooby-Doo games that are like the point and click ones? They're like Showdown in the there's like Showdown in like this old western.
I've heard about those, yeah. But
Yeah,
it's kind of
I have got
all the
them
time we
somewhere.
have for now. So check out Classix if you're on his channel. No, check out well, I guess check out Classix if you're on his channel, but definitely check out Classix if you're here on my channel. And if you're watching this video on his channel,
and please subscribe.
Subscribe to him, subscribe to me, subscribe to everyone.
Excuse me.
Hit the bell, leave a like, all that nonsense.
Yeah, if you hit the bell, you get notified when we upload. It's the best way to obviously know when we're going to upload.
Because we do copyrighted gaming content, and I tend to swear a lot. I think you swear a little bit, so YouTube likes to bury our videos because they're not suitable for children. So,
oh, believe me, I swear a lot during this Assassin's Creed game I've been doing recently.
I can imagine.
But that's not coming out until next year. So if you ask me about the AC Marathon, there's Rogue going up. Rogue will be the last one this year, and then next year I haven't decided yet because I haven't started even to start edit Black Flag, so I've not even started it yet. And I'm now almost finished with Unity. I've got Syndicate to do, and then that's it for Assassin's Creed content.
Well, we will see you for now, in the next podcast, guys.
Yes.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Wishing you the most frightening, scary, spooky, creepy, ghastly, ghoulish, grisly, wonderful time of the year. Happy Halloween.